It's not that deep. Everything love, lust, and life.
Sex. We talk about it so you can get better at it. We can all get better at it and maybe feel a bit happier in the process. It's not that deep. Or is it? Hey, I've just come off a call talking to a therapist where we talked about shame. And this was just in a therapy session, not at sex at all. But it got me to thinking about shame and sex because there is so much shame that surrounds sex. Shame about talking about it. Shame about people knowing that you're doing it. Shame about people thinking that you've not, or that you've had too much, or not enough, or maybe it's about technique. You know, that maybe you think you're not good enough at something, or maybe you've got a kink. I know I've spent a lot of my life around a lot of very kinky people, and there's a lot of people who are very ashamed of their kinks and feel like it's something that, you know, I'm not normal or something, and that there's something wrong with me. And yet you don't think that about any other part of your life. I mean, I have blue hair and I dress weirdly, and that's just me being me, and I don't think about it. There's no shame around it. There's no real thought about it. It's just everyday life. And yet when it comes to sex, you second guess it. And why is that? Why do we have so much shame around things that are just another natural function of life, and they're just part of you being you, experiencing your life with either yourself or with others? And especially if it's surrounding not knowing things. You know, I've always had a bit of a thing about whether I'm any good at blowjobs, because I've never received one from me. I've no idea if I'm any good. But why would I be ashamed of asking about that? If you think, again, take it back to your everyday life, I wouldn't be ashamed about when I didn't know how to drive. You know, you're not ashamed of that. The lack of knowledge around something that you haven't been taught yet. So why would you be ashamed if you're not any good at something because you haven't been specifically taught and you haven't asked your partner if you're any, what they like, how they like to do it? And so maybe if we just take the shame out of things and ask and be like, no, actually, you know what? I'm not the owner of this equipment. I don't know how to make it work that well. Or maybe I'm doing a great job. I have no idea. Can you tell me? And can you give me information? And then maybe actually if we also, again, things like kinks, maybe you just don't know that there's loads of people out there with the same thing as you. And if we were just a bit more open about it, that actually, and a bit less judgmental with each other about it, we'd be less afraid of the judgment. I think shame actually is sort of prejudgment of other people's opinions, but actually maybe if we're just a bit more accepting in life, then we'd be a bit more accepting in sex, and we'd be able to have better sex, and we'd be able to be more open about learning about it and have more fun with it.
Sex. It's not that deep.